Welcome to LinkedIn Job Searching. Today's class will be hosted by Jamie and Sharon with the Plano Public Library. Before we begin, I do need to let you know about some ground rules that we've set up for today's program. You will be muted during this class and we have your video blocked. You will only see the instructor's screen. At the top of your screen, you can find an exit full screen option if you need to get to other things on your computer, including your LinkedIn account. You are welcome to ask questions during today's program. You should see an icon at the bottom of your screen that says chat. Click on that to open the chat window. Chat is set to be seen by library staff only. Please note that any inappropriate comments will cause your immediate removal from the class. In regards to questions, we may answer you in the chat box. We might hold the question until a break or the end of the program, or we might go ahead and ask the question at the time if it is pressing. In the reminder email for this class, there is a link for the course handout with additional information, which we will also share in the chat. A recording of today's class will also be sent out in a few days. If you would like to watch today's class and then practice after getting that recording, that is an option. And finally, if you would like to follow along with your own LinkedIn account, you may, but please do keep in mind that it will be difficult to try to give one-on-one assistance or troubleshoot during today's class. We will try to take it slow in case you are practicing along with the instructors today. And with that, I think we're ready to get started. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jamie, and as we get started today, I do need to remind you that I am a librarian and not a business expert. The information I'm sharing with you today is designed to be an overview and to help you connect with additional resources that may be helpful in your job search. We won't cover creating a LinkedIn profile or building a resume. You can review the previous two classes in this series for more information on those topics. Today's class will focus on job searching tips and tools in LinkedIn, and I will be using my LinkedIn account to demonstrate the content and features as we go through them. We have three main objectives for today's class. First, we're going to review some tips and strategies to optimize your LinkedIn profile for active job searching. Then we'll discuss strategies for connecting and networking with colleagues and companies. And finally, we'll explore some tips and tools for searching and applying for jobs using LinkedIn. Before you actively begin searching for jobs, it's a good idea to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is optimized for your job search. So let's start today by exploring some tips for preparing your LinkedIn profile. If you've used LinkedIn in the past, you may have heard the term all-star profile. LinkedIn uses a profile strength meter to measure how competitive your profile is compared to other users. And your profile can be anything from beginner, intermediate, advanced, expert, and all the way up to all-star. There are 8 essential elements that you need for your profile to reach that all-star status. The first is a profile photo. LinkedIn profiles with a photo are more than 20 times more likely to get a profile view, which is a first step in you getting a job. Your profile picture is a first impression, so you'll want to look for a professional, well-lit, and positive photo. You'll also need to include a professional headline. Your headline, just like the other information in your profile, is searchable. So you may want to include information beyond just your job title, such as key career highlights or your overall mission, and to incorporate specific job keywords. As a starting point, you can look at job descriptions for those keywords and skills that come up most often, or review headlines for other LinkedIn users who have the type of job that you want to get. You'll also need to include your industry and location information. Including this information helps match you with different opportunities. So you'll want to choose an industry that represents your overall career. And for your location, you may want to choose a broader geographic area like the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex rather than a specific city. You'll also need to include a current position plus at least 2 previous positions. The more experience you can include, the easier you are to find in searches. And you can include achievements and specific examples as part of your descriptions as well. You'll need to include at least 5 skills. LinkedIn profiles with 5 or more skills are more than 30 times more likely to be contacted by recruiters about job opportunities. Look for skills that highlight your strengths and also relate to the important keywords found in your job postings. To make those skills stand out, you can have your connections endorse you, or you can complete a skills assessment. You'll also want to include an engaging summary, and this is where you can really market yourself to potential employers. There are 3 elements that can help this area stand out: an opening statement summarizing your skills and experience, a few key points from your achievements, and finally, a closing statement about the types of opportunities you are most interested in. You'll also want to include your education information. When applicable, including your education information can help you connect with alumni, and it also helps showcase your credentials if you are a recent graduate or a current student. And finally, you'll want to have a network of at least 50 connections. The larger your network, the more opportunities you will have. Look at your email contacts, previous employers, and current colleagues as a starting point. Now, I know that's a lot of information that I've given you, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is switch over to my LinkedIn profile so you can see what that might look like in action. And once you sign into your account, you can easily see your profile and where LinkedIn is currently rating you in terms of your profile status. And LinkedIn is feeling a tiny bit uncooperative for us today, but we'll give it just a moment to load. And once again, when you sign in, you'll be automatically directed to your newsfeed and information, and you can get to your profile by just clicking on your name or your profile picture if you have one to pull up that page. And as you see my profile start coming up, you'll see some of the things that we've talked about. I have that profile picture. I've got a headline. I have my area set as the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then the other information is included throughout my profile as well. And if you scroll down your profile a little bit, you'll see that blue box that says your dashboard, and that's where you'll be able to see your profile strength. So once you've included all of the elements that we listed, you'll see that change from beginner all the way up to all-star as you continue adding some of the additional information. And then if I keep scrolling, you'll see education information, job titles, and everything are all included in that profile, and my network has been put in as well. So now that we know what an all-star profile looks like, let's take a look at a few practical changes that you can make to optimize your profile. These tips can help you make the most of your LinkedIn profile as you start job searching. So these are some things that we're going to do before we even start looking for jobs to make sure that our profiles stand out and we're ready to go. The first one is to keep your profile updates turned off. As you prepare for your job search, you don't have to share that information with everyone. You can also create a custom profile URL, which will make it easy for you to remember and share your LinkedIn profile as part of job applications, cover letters, and more. You can use the featured section and content sharing features on your profile to build an online portfolio of work. This is a great way to show concrete examples of your skills. And finally, you can show recruiters that you're open to opportunities. The more visible your profile, the more likely you are to connect with potential opportunities. And now we'll take a look at each of those tips in action. So we will pop back over to LinkedIn and see what that looks like. So step one is keeping our profile updates turned off. If you're actively job searching, you may not want your network to be aware of the updates and changes that you're making to your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn does give you the option to turn those notifications on or off according to your preference. So what you're going to do is actually go to your profile menu, which is going to be where you say me in the top right corner. You may see your profile picture if you have one, and you will scroll down under account to settings and privacy. And this will pull up your privacy information. And there's a lot of different information in here. But we will go to visibility in the left-hand menu, and that will pop us right over to the section that we need. And we're going to scroll down a little bit to see visibility of your LinkedIn activity. And right here, you have an option to share profile updates with your network. And that's basically saying if I make a change to my profile, if I add a job, if I add education, if I tweak things, I want people to know about it. And you can actually change that by clicking on change. It'll update a little profile slider that you can turn on or off, just back and forth, yes or no, depending on your preference. If you'd prefer to make individual decisions about those updates, you can also adjust the share with your network options within each section when you're working on a desktop computer. So as you make changes to something, you'll see an option to share those updates, and you can individually choose to say, no, I don't want to show that change to my network at this time. I'm going to go ahead and click back to LinkedIn to take us back to our main page so that we can look at a custom profile URL. A custom profile URL is a great way to make sure that it's easy to share and remember your LinkedIn profile. You might want to use your name, your initials, or even a job title to help make your profile identifiable. There are some limits to what you can do in terms of the number of characters you can include, and you're going to be limited, generally speaking, to letters and numbers and a lot of special characters, but you still have some options for customizing that. So you'll want to navigate back to your profile. And this time, we are going to look for the Edit Public Profile and URL option that's in that top right corner. When I click on that, it's going to open up a separate box for me. And then you'll see the option to edit your custom URL. When you click on that little pencil, you can actually change the information. So I have my profile URL just set as my name because it's easy for me to remember. You can include anything from 3 to 100 characters, as long as they are letters or numbers. You can't include spaces or symbols in this. Once you've made the changes that you want, you'll just hit save, and that will apply those changes for you. And then you can get back to your profile by just clicking back to that original tab. To make your profile content stand out, you can make use of the featured section and content sharing features. And this can help draw attention to your content and work samples and add specific concrete examples of those skills and achievements that you're sharing with potential employers. So first, to feature content, we would scroll down on our profile to the section that says featured. And you can use that plus sign icon to add an entry and then choose the type of content that you want to feature. So maybe you want to feature a post that you've shared. Maybe you want to feature a link to web content. Maybe you have a document that you'd like to upload. You would select the one that you want. So we'll just say, I'm going to do a link. It'll open up a separate little box for me, and you fill out any of the required information and hit add, and that will add to your featured content. So you can see on mine, I've included an article that I have written, a post that I created, and also a post that I shared, and those highlight on my profile. If you want to change those at any time, you can just click on the pencil icon and make changes. You can use those 3 lines to drag and drop and reorder. You could edit or you could delete. Once you've done the changes that you need to, you would just hit done, and those changes will apply immediately for you. If you don't want to have a featured content section, you can also add content specifically to your experience and education sections as well. So to do that, you would scroll and find the entry that you would like to add the content to. So let's say I want to add something to my current position. I'm going to go ahead and click on the pencil icon so that I can edit it. I'd scroll all the way to the bottom of that box, and then I see an option to add media. I would go ahead and click on add media. It'll give me the option to add a link or upload media. And then I would add the content in. Once I've made those changes, I would just go ahead and click save. And that would update the changes. And rather than showing us my featured content, they would show as part of those experience or education entries. You can upload up to 10 videos or documents per entry at this time on LinkedIn. And finally, LinkedIn gives you the option to let recruiters and potential employers know that you are open to work. When you scroll back up to the top of your profile screen, right underneath where you have your name and information, you'll see that blue button that says open to. You would click on that and that let people know what you're open to, whether that's finding a new job, if you were hiring, or if you were providing services. So let's say I choose finding a new job. I would click on that. You can add in job titles that you're interested in, the type of workplace you'd like, on-site, hybrid, remote work, locations that you would like to work in, your start date information, and job types, full-time, part-time, etc. Once you've put in all of those filters that you would like, you can also choose who sees that information. So you can choose to show that to all LinkedIn members, which means anyone who sees your profile can see that you're open to work, and there'll be a little open to work badge that appears by your profile picture. Or you can choose to show to recruiters only, which is going to filter that just to people who are actively looking for applicants. And you'll notice here that LinkedIn does say they take steps not to show recruiters at your current company, but they can't guarantee complete privacy. So do keep in mind, if you choose to use this option, other people may notice that you're making a job move. Once you've made all of your selections, you'll just click add to profile, and that will make those changes take effect. Are there any questions about optimizing your profile for job searching?
Don't see anything yet.
All right, so we've talked about building our profile. The next thing we're going to do is talk about building our network to get ready for that job search. Building your professional network is a crucial part of connecting with potential job opportunities. So these are just a couple of things that you can try to get started in building that network. The first is to join professional groups and organizations. And as you do this, you'll look for groups that relate to your industry or your interests where you can contribute to the conversation. You can also find and follow companies or industry leaders. So connecting with companies you'd like to work for lets you see updates from them or also updates from leaders in your field, and that can jumpstart your ideas and your opportunities. As you start connecting with people, personalize your requests. You can ask for recommendations or ask to connect with people, but do take a moment to build those relationships and provide a framework for future conversations. And finally, post and share content. Sharing your thoughts, ideas, and projects is a great way to connect with other users and draw attention to your own skills. So once again, we will go ahead and pop back over to our LinkedIn profile so that you can see what this looks like in action. So our first tip was to join professional groups and organizations. Groups on LinkedIn are spaces for professionals in a particular industry who share similar interests and goals to connect with one another. Basically, they're forums for sharing your personal experiences and thoughts, asking for guidance, generating ideas, and building connections. There are several benefits to joining relevant groups on LinkedIn. First, they help you build your network outside your immediate colleagues or the people you work with day to day. Groups can connect you with other LinkedIn users who might have new experiences or ideas that can jumpstart your job search. And you're also expanding your network of potential connections by having something in common, even if you aren't directly connected to that individual. You're also increasing opportunities for future engagement. So sharing relevant content and contributing to conversations increases your visibility in the professional community, and it makes it more likely for you to engage with other professionals or job opportunities in the future. It is also a way for you to build your brand because you are sharing your interests with other LinkedIn users, and that content that you contribute and share also provides opportunities for you to tell people what kind of person you are or what your expertise is. The best groups for you to join will depend on your goals and experience, but in general, you'll likely want to look for groups that match your industry, your current role, your professional goals, or groups related to your customers. So to do a search for groups, you would use the LinkedIn search bar at the very top of the page, and you can actually say I'm searching in library. When I search, it will give me an option to filter specifically to groups. Right underneath that search bar, I would click on the option for groups to filter those results. And then you can browse through the available list of groups that might apply to you. If you'd like to learn more about a group, you can just click on their page to learn more information. And this will take you to the group homepage where you can see information about the group. You can find out more about their members and things they might have in common with you. So for example, several of them have attended the same school that I did. One works at the same company that I do. 89 are people who are already in my area. So that kind of lets me know if I'm going to be a good match for this group or not. If you'd like to join a group, you can just click that blue request to join group, and that will put your request to the group administrators if there is a process in place to evaluate membership, or some groups may allow you to join immediately without having anyone review that. LinkedIn may also recommend relevant groups based on your profile information. So if you go under your network tab, you should be able to scroll through those recommendations once they load to a section for groups you may be interested in. So it gives me people that I may know. I keep scrolling down, keep scrolling, people with similar roles. I've got recommended pages, recommended people, online events, and groups will show up in here as well. So towards the bottom, I have that groups you may be interested in. I can look at any of those, or I can click on See All to see a complete list of results. Once you've joined a group, you can access it from any time and contribute to the content. So over on the left-hand side, you would just click on groups, and that will take you to your active groups. Select the group homepage that you want to view. And then you are in that groups area and can contribute to the content. You can review existing content by just scrolling through the newsfeed, just like you would on your main LinkedIn page. You can add a response by choosing one from that menu. You can like something, you can love it, you can find it insightful, or you can add in a comment or join in an ongoing conversation if someone else has already commented on something. You also have the option to add your original content up at the very top. You would just click where it says start a post or start a conversation. And you can start adding in your content by just typing in what you want to talk about. You can add hashtags. You can turn commenting on or off, add images or other things to make that content engaging. Once you have everything the way you want it, just click post, and that will add to the conversation in the group. Now, keep in mind, as you engage in groups, you'll want to contribute to existing content before adding your own. And this helps establish trust in the group and build your personal brand. You can ask specific questions to promote thoughtful dialogue. You want to listen, engage, and pay attention. Remember, your conversations are ongoing, so you'll want to be aware of others' responses to your comments or content as well, and not leave somebody hanging. And finally, keep it professional. You want to make sure links are useful and relevant, that your content stays on topic, and that you respond thoughtfully, even if a discussion becomes heated. Within groups, you may also want to connect with the individual members. So from that group homepage, you can actually click See All to see all of the members in a group. And you can review their names. You can click on their profile picture or their name to access their profile and connect if you would like, or you can use the message option to send them a message and start a conversation. Are there any questions about groups?
No questions at this time.
So in addition to groups, you also have the option to find and follow appropriate companies and industry leaders. Exploring companies can help you understand more about potential employers, their culture, and available opportunities. So to find a company, I can just search for them in the search bar. We go search all of LinkedIn so that we get all of our options and not just within our group. And let's say I'm interested in Microsoft. I can search and click on the company's name to access their profile. And this will give me some additional information about the company. I also have the option to follow them. If I click that follow button, that will make their content appear in my news feed so that I get regular updates for them. From the company's homepage, I have some basic information where I can learn more about the company. I can see upcoming events. I can see information about employees and connections. If I had something in common with this company, I might see 2 people from my company work here. So I can see that. I can see there are 210,000 employees as part of this company. I can also see their job openings by easily just clicking on jobs to see what they have open. I can see things that were recently posted under recently posted, or I could click on see all to see additional information. And this will let me view entries for more details, apply for the job, or save it for future review if I'm not ready to apply right now. If I go under the People tab, I can get more insights about the current employees, and LinkedIn will also recommend people that I may know based on our shared connections or information. And so these might be people that I want to follow or connect with. Finding and following industry leaders would use the same process. Again, it's a great way to get relevant content added to your newsfeed, which you can share with other LinkedIn users as you build your brand. You would just be searching for someone's name. So let's say I search for Bill Gates instead of Microsoft to find the content. And then again, I can review the profile page, or I can go ahead and click follow to have that person's content added into my news feed. Now, as you've seen, there are several ways to interact with your network on LinkedIn, but it is important to take the time to personalize those interactions if you can. There are 2 scenarios where it's particularly important for you to do this: when you're asking to connect with another user and when you're asking for a recommendation. Letting people know why you want to connect greatly improves the chances they will accept that invitation. Your connection request is a first impression. So think about why you want to connect with someone or what you have in common. You want to build a relationship while also standing out from other requests that they may receive. So let's say that I want to connect with someone. And I've searched for the person I want to connect with. I've reviewed their profile and I'm ready to connect. When I click on the connect button, whether I'm in the search box or if I'm on their profile, I should see an option to add a note. And I would click there and I can put in a message to let someone know why I want to connect. You might want to mention someone that you have in common, something on their profile that you've noticed or admired, or even just why you'd like to start a conversation with them. You only have 300 characters, so your message will need to be short, but this just adds a little personal touch. And once you've put that in, you can hit send and they will get that message in addition to your request to connect. You might also want to request recommendations from current or former colleagues, which you can do either from a connections profile or by requesting a recommendation from your profile. But again, that's something that you may want to add a personal touch to as well. So let's say that I'm on my profile and I want to request a recommendation. I can only do that from my profile if I've already given or received a recommendation, but if I have, it will show up. And I keep scrolling. I will see an option to ask for a recommendation. And so I can click on that button. I would put in the person that I want to ask for the recommendation. I would put in some information about how I know this person and what my position was to give some context. I would click next. It gives me a little letter to start out with, but I can also click in here to add additional thoughts and personalize that before I click send. And that lets me maybe share why I'm asking them for a recommendation, or if there's anything that I'd like them to highlight about me, because those recommendations can be included on my profile. And you can manage those at any time with that pencil icon. You can request a revision if someone has done something that you don't quite agree with, or if there's a typo, or you can show or hide a recommendation from your profile. So if this one is no longer relevant, I could just click hide and that'll take it back off of my profile again. And that gives me some control over what content shows on my profile. Are there any questions about networking?
There's a question about, it asks if you could repeat the recommendation section, just maybe the starting part of how to go about asking for a recommendation.
Absolutely. So you do have two options for asking for a recommendation. If you already have a recommendation on your profile, the easiest way will be to scroll to that section on your profile where it says recommendations, click ask for recommendation, and that will open up the wizard. But let's say that I don't have any recommendations on my profile, so I don't have that option. I would actually pull up the profile person that I want to request that recommendation from. I can open up their profile. And then I'm going to choose more in the top section. And then I would choose request a recommendation. And that brings up that box again for me. I would choose how I know the person, the position that I was affiliated with them, click next. I can personalize that request and information and then click send, and that will send it over to the user to see if they would like to actually fill out that recommendation for me.
Thank you.
No problem. The last thing we're going to talk about for this section is posting and sharing content. Since LinkedIn is a professional social media site, you can engage with content that others create and share, as well as share your own original content. And this will give you more opportunities to connect with others and be noticed for potential opportunities. Following and sharing content that interests you is also a great way to build your brand. You have 4 main ways to interact with content, and you're going to do all of this from your homepage. You can react to existing content with emojis. You can comment on content created by others. You can share content created by others, or you can create your own original content. So reacting with emojis is a quick, easy way to connect and share information with others. And all you would do for that is as you're scrolling through your newsfeed, you see the little button that says like, you hover over that and you choose the response that best represents what you're trying to communicate. And sometimes you might want to discuss a topic or idea that has been shared, and you can do that by adding a comment to an ongoing conversation or even starting a conversation. But let's say this post here has 3 comments. I can click and see the comments. I can either add my own comment in by clicking on add a comment, or I can reply to someone else's comment by clicking on reply. As you're replying, you may want to add your opinion, mention relevant experiences or facts, or bring others into the discussion by tagging them. You might also want to share content with your network that you find relevant, engaging, or interesting. And this is a great way to show your network the types of content that you are interested in. So to do that, I would choose the post that I was interested in sharing, and I would click that share button. And it will bring up some different options for me. I can choose who I want to share the content with. I can add any additional thoughts that I have, add any relevant hashtags, and then I would click post to add that to my network. And finally, you have the option to create and post your own original content to your newsfeed if you would like to do that as well. And up at the very top, you'll see that Start a Post button. You would click on that, determine who you want to share it with, add in your content, add photos, videos, links, documents, or anything else that you might need. And then once you've completed it, you'll hit Post. You can repurpose other writing that you're already doing. A good idea with getting started with this content is to start small, as most longer pieces on LinkedIn don't get as much engagement as those shorter posts. If you do add links to a post, keep in mind, not all users will click through to that content. So you want to make sure that you've provided some context about why they might want to. And the last thing we're going to talk about today is maximizing your job search now that you have made sure your profile is ready to go, you've built your network, now you're ready to start searching and finding those jobs. So let's pop back over here to a couple of different options that we have. You may be contacted about job opportunities through people in your network or recruiters, but you'll also want to search and apply for jobs on LinkedIn as well. So here are a few tips to keep in mind as you get started. You can narrow and filter your search results. So if your search is too broad, you might have a hard time finding an opportunity that resonates. However, on the flip side, if your search is too narrow, you might not find any relevant positions. You can be creative and strategic in how you are searching. You can also create job alerts for relevant searches. So once you've found something that works really well, you can set up alerts so that you know when a new position posts. You can save jobs for future review and action. So if you're not sure about a position or you don't have enough time to apply right now, you can save that job and come back to it later. You can also save jobs that you think might be relevant and share them with your connections as well. And finally, you can apply for jobs using your LinkedIn profile information. You have some application settings that will help you easily populate information or store several versions of your resume so that you can pull them up during your job search. So let's go back over to LinkedIn so that we can see what that looks like in action. First thing we're going to do is narrow and filter our job search results. So to apply for a job that interests me, I have to find that job first. Remember, while you're searching on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is going to search not only the job title, but also the content of the job descriptions that are posted. So you can try several different searches to make sure you're getting the best possible information and results. So you can either do this by searching in that main search box, or you can go right over to jobs and start searching there as well. In that search box, you can search by job title, you can search by skill or keyword, or you can even search by company if there's a specific company that you want to work for. So let's just say I'm going to search for librarian and pull up job results. The default here defaulted to United States. I could change that and say, I'm interested in working in the state of Texas. Let's go ahead and filter those results. Right now, I still have a lot of options. And I can apply different filters to narrow the results. So I can choose the date it was posted, experience level. So if I'm only looking for entry-level positions, I can add that filter. If I only want full-time work, I can add that filter. And you'll see every time I add a filter, it cuts down on the number of results that I have. I can even say if I would like to do only remote work, that's an option that I can apply. If at any point your results get too low and you don't have enough options, you can go back over and reset a filter to include more options, or reset all filters from the far right. Once you've identified a job search that works well for you, you can create a job alert to let you know when new opportunities matching that alert post on LinkedIn. And this can keep you up to date on those opportunities without having to keep redoing your search each day. So let's say this search is giving me about the information that I want. Right underneath my search bar, I see the option to turn my job alerts on or off. I would just click on that to turn it on, and that alert is set for me. If I use that little gear shift icon next to it, I can update my preferences. So I can see I have a search set up for librarian. If I click on the pencil icon, I can choose how often I get alerts, if I get an email, if I get a notification on LinkedIn, and I would just hit save to apply those changes. If I don't need that job alert anymore, I can easily click the trash can to delete that job alert as well. So it's really easy for me to manage if I'm looking for a specific type of job, if something has changed, if I find out that every day emails are too much, I can change it to every week and customize that. You can also create a job alert for a specific company as well. So let's say that I'm interested in jobs from the city of Plano, which I can pull up their jobs by searching city of Plano in jobs, but I could also go to their company homepage and search for them as well. And from their jobs page, create a job alert. Which it may not allow me to do just because I'm already following them. So we'll switch over to another city just to make that look a little bit different. Okay, if it's a company that you're not already following, you should see that option, create job alert for the company. You would just click on that button. You could enter a desired job title and then the location and create the job alert as well. Now let's say that I found a job that I'm interested in. It may be that I'm interested in it, but I don't have time to apply, or I might want to think about, am I a good fit for it, and come back to it later. So when I'm doing my job search and I have that whole list of jobs, we'll just go back to one of my recent searches. When I click on the different jobs, I see the information and then I have the apply and save options. If I click on save, that will save my jobs for later. And I can come back to them. So we'll just save one of those. And when I come back to my main jobs page, it will show up under my jobs. And so it's really easy for me to see. And I just click on the three dots. I can either send it in a message, I can unsave it, or if I'm ready to apply, I can apply for it, or I could click back on that link to apply for the job as well. So if I just have a few minutes to browse, I can put together a list of applications, go back and do them at a later date. Now, once I've identified jobs that I'm interested in, I can start applying for them. Jobs on LinkedIn are going to include one of two options, either apply to using the link. And let's go back to jobs. If you see that apply to link, it's going to link you to the company's website to apply for the job. So you're going to leave LinkedIn to be able to do that. You would just click apply, you would click continue and carry on to the job application. You also have an option for what is called easy apply for some positions. And let's see if I can get an easy apply option to pull up. And those jobs are going to say apply now, and they will actually use information from your LinkedIn profile. And you will walk through a step-by-step, update the information that you need and apply for the application that way. If you would like to set up job application settings to save answers that you use commonly, you can do that as well. Go ahead and discard that because we don't need it. There we go. And this lets you reuse uploaded documents and retain useful information for future applications. So it's going to be under the settings and privacy that we were under earlier to set up when we wanted people to see or not see our profile changes. Except for this time, we are going to go under data privacy and then choose job seeking preferences. And this is where you can choose your job application settings. If you click on change, you can pull up those options. And this is where you can choose whether to save and manage your resume and answers. So once you've completed an application, you can choose to save that answer and have it auto-populate if you answer a similar question in the future. You just turn that slider on or off. If you want to have resumes to submit with your application, you can upload a resume as well. You can save information such as your gender or race with applications. That can be turned on or off as well. And you can change those at any time in your job application settings, but that just lets you set up some things that are ready to go as you start applying. Are there any questions about maximizing your job search on LinkedIn?
I don't see any additional questions.
All right, well, that does conclude the information that we had to share today on job searching with LinkedIn. I'm going to go ahead and come back over to our PowerPoint so that I can share a few additional resources before we close today. Now, if you do have a short question that you'd like library staff to answer, you may submit it online at any time using our Ask a Librarian service. A librarian will usually respond within 48 hours with the information that you need. If you want more one-on-one help from one of our librarians, about 30 minutes, and the chance to go over your specific questions, you can complete a Book a Librarian appointment request online as well. Each session is tailored to your specific needs and is compatible with your schedule. Our blog, Plano Library Learns, includes book lists, program recordings, and other useful information, and you can explore more business and career resources from the associated tab. You can also view past programs on our YouTube channel at any time. Remember, you will receive a link to the recording from today's class in a few days, and you can access our course handouts via the Google Drive at any time as well. And finally, please be sure to join us for our last class in this series, which will cover LinkedIn Learning. That class will be held next Wednesday, October 27th at 1 p.m. If you are interested in attending, you will need to register for that class as well. You can pop over to our program calendar and register, or look for the link in the business and career courses posted on our website as well. Are there any final questions before we close today? As you leave today, we do ask that you please take a moment to complete our program survey, which should pop up when you exit the program. We do value your feedback, and we use that information to help determine future courses and what we can offer that is of most assistance to you. Once again, thank you for joining us today, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of your afternoon.